In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to add a drop shadow to text without using any images. It's a very simple technique because you can use the CSS3 text shadow property. It was originally part of CSS2, but was dropped from the specification because browsers failed to support it. Ironically, once that happened, all browsers except Internet Explorer added support for text shadow, so it's now back part as CSS3. The simplest way to use text shadow in Dreamweaver is through the Properties pane of the CSS Styles panel. You should also be in live view so that you can see the effect being applied dynamically as you make the adjustments. I'm going to just select the heading here and click Add Property and find Text Shadow in this list. There we are. And it's added a little icon in the value field. Click that to reveal a panel where you can set the values. Now, the values are X offset, which is the horizontal distance of the shadow, the Y offset, which is the vertical distance, and then you can also set a blur radius. Finally, there is color. This is the order that they appear within the property definition, but I'm going to use color first, because then I'll be able to see the effect as I change the X and Y offsets. Now, when you open the color picker, you need to make sure that the color format is set to either RGBA or HSLA so that you can have alpha transparency on the text shadow. Usually having a text shadow which is completely opaque is a little bit too heavy. I'm going to choose RGBA and then select black. Now I can start adjusting the X and Y offsets. Just going to make 1 pixel there. As you can see, it's added a dark black shadow on the right hand side. The offset of the shadow is 1 pixel to the right. If you use positive numbers, it moves to the right. Negative numbers moves the shadow to the left. And the Y offset, I'm going to set that at 1 pixel as well. So that's given me a vertical offset of 1 pixel. Positive numbers go down, negative numbers go up. And I'm going to add a blur radius of 1. Now that does look a little bit too heavy at the moment, but I'll just click away from the panel and expand here so that I can see all of the details. And there we've got RGBA 0001. That's black, fully opaque. So if I just change the alpha transparency from 1 to something which is very translucent, 0.3, and press enter, you'll see that that gives me a much more subtle shadow. Alpha transparency is expressed as a number between 0 and 1, 0 being completely transparent and 1 being completely opaque. And that's really all there is to it. You can add multiple shadows, multiple text shadows to fonts by creating a comma-separated list of values, but Dreamweaver doesn't support that within the CSS Styles panel. You would have to do that directly in the style sheet. Unless you want to create a special effect, I think it's best to go for a subtle text shadow, no more than 1 or 2 pixels, using translucent black or white, depending on the background.